Welcome to World Information HD. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare coins, uncovering the top 10 most valuable Lincoln 1-cent wheat pennies from the USA. These dirty, historic pennies are not just pocket change, they could be worth millions. Stay tuned to discover which pennies might make you a lucky collector overnight. Today, we're exploring a coin that is more than just currency. It's a piece of American history that has captured the hearts of collectors everywhere. If you've ever wondered about rare pennies that could hold extraordinary value, stay tuned as we uncover the secrets of the United States of America 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. At first glance, the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny might appear like any other coin in your pocket or piggy bank. Its modest size, familiar copper hue, and iconic design are easily overlooked. Yet, for coin enthusiasts and collectors, this seemingly ordinary penny represents a gateway to history, rarity, and astonishing value. It is a coin that survived decades of circulation, economic upheaval, and the transformation of the United States through World War II, yet remains a prized treasure for those who know its story. The Lincoln wheat penny itself has a fascinating background. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the penny broke away from traditional coin designs by featuring the first U.S. president on a circulating coin. The reverse side, adorned with two stalks of wheat, symbolized prosperity and growth, which resonated deeply during a time of economic change in the early 20th century. This combination of historical significance and appealing design made the Lincoln wheat penny an instant favorite among both the general public and numismatists alike. Now, focusing on the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, this specific coin holds a special allure. Unlike other pennies that might bear a mint mark indicating their place of origin, this one lacks any mark, which tells us it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia was the largest and oldest mint in the United States, and coins from this mint were known for their meticulous craftsmanship. But what makes the 1941 penny truly special isn't just its mint location. It's the story it carries, the condition it has maintained over the decades, and the rarity that collectors cherish. 1941 was a pivotal year in American history. The nation stood on the brink of entering World War II, a conflict that would reshape the world. Everyday Americans carried coins like this Lincoln penny in their pockets, buying groceries, paying for gas, and saving whatever pennies they could. To think that this humble coin, which passed through countless hands during one of the most tumultuous periods in history, has survived in a collectible state is nothing short of remarkable. Each scratch, discoloration, and patina tells a tale of its journey through time, giving collectors a tangible connection to the past. Collectors often evaluate pennies based on several factors, and the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is no exception. The coin's condition, or grade, is critical. A penny that shows minimal wear, retains its original copper shine, and maintains the intricate details of Lincoln's profile and the wheat stalks on the reverse side is considered highly desirable. Experts look for sharpness in Lincoln's hair, the clarity of the date, and the definition of the wheat ears. Coins in superior condition, known as uncirculated or mint state, are particularly valuable because they offer a glimpse of history almost untouched by the hands of time. Another factor that adds to the value of this 1941 penny is its relative scarcity in high grades. While millions of pennies were minted in 1941, many were lost, melted down, or heavily circulated, resulting in wear that diminishes their appeal to serious collectors. Finding a 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that retains both its original details and minimal signs of wear is like discovering a hidden gem from the past. This rarity contributes significantly to its monetary value, making it a sought-after item in the numismatic world. For those unfamiliar with coin collecting, the allure of the Lincoln wheat penny might seem purely aesthetic. However, its value goes far beyond appearance. Coins like the 1941 penny provide an educational glimpse into American history, the evolution of coinage, and the economic conditions of the era. They serve as a tactile connection to the lives of everyday Americans who once relied on these coins for daily transactions. Each penny is a miniature artifact, a witness to history that has survived wars, economic crises, and the passage of time, The 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny also holds a special place in coin grading discussions. Professional numismatists often examine coins under magnification to assess tiny imperfections, scratches, or contact marks. They consider the color and luster of the metal, which can indicate how well the coin has been preserved. A well-preserved 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, with minimal oxidation and a rich, original copper tone, stands out as a particularly valuable find. It's a coin that not only tells a story of history but also showcases the artistry and precision of early 20th century coin production. Many collectors take a keen interest in coins that reflect the broader historical context. The 1941 penny is particularly fascinating because it predates the United States' formal entry into World War II by just a few months. Imagine holding a coin that was in circulation during the year of Pearl Harbor, a coin that may have passed through countless hands of soldiers, civilians, and everyday citizens. Each scratch and worn edge is a silent witness to the passage of time, the trials of a nation, and the resilience of its people. In addition to historical significance, there's the potential financial upside. Rare pennies like the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny can be a valuable addition to any collection, not just for their beauty or history, but for their monetary value. Serious collectors and investors often seek these coins at auctions, coin shows, and private sales, sometimes paying top dollar to secure one in exceptional condition. The market for such coins remains robust, fueled by collectors who appreciate both the rarity and the story behind each piece. If you're considering hunting for a 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny, it's essential to know what to look for. Examine the coin carefully, paying attention to the presence, or absence, of a mint mark. Check for wear on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, inspect the clarity of the date, and observe the definition of the wheat stalks on the reverse side. Coins with fewer scratches, minimal discoloration, and sharp details will always command higher value. It's a rewarding endeavor, combining the thrill of the hunt with the satisfaction of owning a tangible piece of history. Many collectors also appreciate the sentimental and educational value of coins like this. They are perfect for teaching younger generations about history, economics, and the evolution of currency. Holding a 1941 penny in your hand allows you to feel a connection with a bygone era, to imagine the lives of people who carried it decades ago, and to understand the craftsmanship and dedication that went into producing something that has endured for generations. Over the years, numerous 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies have surfaced in various conditions, but the truly exceptional ones remain rare. Collectors often pay a premium for coins that are not only old but also well preserved, with a striking balance of historical significance and aesthetic appeal. Auction results and private sales consistently demonstrate the high demand for such coins, underscoring the enduring fascination with these humble yet remarkable pieces of history. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny offers a unique opportunity. It's more than just a coin, it's a snapshot of American history, a reflection of craftsmanship, and a potential treasure for those who understand its worth. The excitement of discovering one, the satisfaction of verifying its authenticity, and the joy of preserving it for future generations make the pursuit endlessly rewarding. To sum up, the United States of America 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny is a captivating collectible. Its historical significance, rarity in high grades, and the compelling story it carries through decades make it a must-have for any serious collector. From the intricate details of Lincoln's profile to the symbolism of the wheat ears on the reverse, every aspect of this coin tells a story of history, art, and endurance. It connects us to a pivotal era in American history, allows us to experience the beauty of early 20th century coinage, and offers a tangible investment opportunity for collectors who recognize its worth. If you're a coin lover, a treasure hunter, or someone who simply enjoys discovering the hidden value behind everyday objects, then today's story might surprise you. Because somewhere inside a dusty old drawer, a forgotten jar of pennies, or even tucked deep in a family coin box, a tiny copper coin from 1942 might be holding a secret far more exciting than anyone expects. This is the tale of the United States of America 1942 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, a coin that many people walk right past without a second thought, yet it carries a history, a mystery, and a value that continues to rise in the world of collectors. The year 1942 was a time when the United States was fully engaged in World War II. Resources were tight, metal was precious, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to conserve materials for the war effort. Although the famous steel penny would not be introduced until 1943, the discussions and preparations were already happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the Mint continued to strike copper pennies, but minting standards, planchet supplies, and die quality were all affected by the shift toward wartime production. This makes coins from this period especially fascinating, as small variations and imperfections became more common. And among these coins is the 1942 Dewey penny, minted in Denver, holding characteristics that have made collectors pay very close attention. The obverse features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design introduced in 1909 and beloved for generations. The reverse carries the two iconic wheat ears, symbolizing prosperity and growth. But when it comes to the 1942 D penny, it's not just the design that attracts collectors. It's the tiny details, the historical moment it represents, and the unexpected scarcity of high-grade survivors that set it apart from the more ordinary wheat cents. Imagine a typical day in 1942, factories working day and night, soldiers preparing to fight across oceans, and families saving every scrap of metal for the war. In this era, pennies were not treated carefully. They jingled in pockets, scraped against other coins, passed from hand to hand, spent hundreds of times on everyday goods like bread, milk, and newspaper. A penny at this time had a job to do, and nobody imagined that decades later collectors would be looking for the few that survived in exceptional condition. And that is where the story becomes interesting. Because while millions of 1942 D pennies were minted, very few survived without scratches, tarnish, or damage. Most were used until they were brown, worn down, and nearly flat. So finding one today in crisp, original condition can be like finding treasure. Collectors today search for these coins in coin rolls, estate sales, auctions, flea markets, and old family collections. They check for mint luster, shine, clean surfaces, sharp details, and even original red color. A simple change in surface quality, red versus red, brown versus brown, can dramatically influence the market value. What seems like a tiny difference to the untrained eye can be the difference between a few dollars and thousands. And with the rise of coin grading companies like PCGS and NGC, collectors want their coins certified, protected, and recognized for their grade. A high-grade 1942 D penny, especially one with full original color, almost untouched by time, can attract serious competition at auction. There are also quirky and rare minting varieties associated with this year. Some collectors search for repunched mint marks, where the D was punched into the dime more than once, leaving a little shadow or doubling effect. Others look for minor die cracks or unusual die polishing patterns that make certain coins stand out. While these variations might not always skyrocket the price, they certainly add charm and interest to the coin, and dedicated collectors enjoy hunting for these subtle differences. This kind of detail is part of what makes wheat pennies so endlessly fascinating. Each one tells a story, not only of history but also of the minting process itself. Let's take a moment and imagine holding one of these coins in your hand. A copper penny with the D mint mark tucked neatly under the date. The surface might still gleam with that fiery red color, or it might carry a deep chocolate tone, aged by decades of circulation. Every tiny mark or smooth patch tells a story of how far this coin has traveled. Perhaps it once bought candy from a shop window in the 40s. Maybe it rolled across a diner table in the 50s, slipped into a child's piggy bank in the 60s, or rested forgotten in a drawer for years and years. Coins pass through more hands than we ever realize, and each journey leaves a trace. But for collectors today, the most desirable 1942 D pennies are the ones that seem untouched by time, saved by chance, preserved by luck. Now, the real excitement comes from how these coins perform in the market. Prices vary widely based on condition. A heavily circulated 1942 Dewey penny may have little monetary value, but once you climb into higher grades, the numbers begin to jump to tens, hundreds, and then thousands of dollars. Auction houses have recorded extraordinary prices for some of the finest examples, especially those graded extremely high. These are coins that shine as brilliantly today as they did the moment they left the Denver Mint. Collectors love them. Investors chase them. And auction bidders push them to incredible heights. The fascination continues to grow among modern treasure hunters. Videos, blogs, coin websites, and social media communities constantly discuss rare wheat pennies, how to find them, what to look for, and how to determine if a coin is worth grading. The 1942 D penny constantly appears in these conversations because it represents that perfect balance of history, rarity and high grade, and affordable entry for new collectors. You don't need a fortune to start hunting for it. All you need is curiosity, patience, and a sharp eye for the small details. Many beginners even find their first valuable coins simply by checking old coin jars that have been sitting untouched for decades. Every collector can tell you a story of a moment when they discovered something special completely by accident. And that adds to the fun. The thrill of searching, the hope of finding something rare, and the joy of learning about American history through coins. The 1942 D penny inspires all of this. It's not just a small copper disc. It's a piece of wartime America, a reminder of perseverance, and a symbol of everyday life during one of the most significant periods in world history. As collectors continue to explore the world of wheat pennies, the demand for high-quality examples of the 1942 D only grows stronger. More people are sending their coins to grading services, more auctions are drawing competitive bidders, and more beginners are entering the hobby each year. This means that well-preserved coins will likely continue to rise in interest and value. And because so few exist in top condition, each one that surfaces becomes a highlight among enthusiasts. So whether you are a lifelong collector or someone just discovering the world of rare coins, the story of the 1942 D wheat penny shows why a simple cent can be so much more than pocket change. It can be history. It can be art. It can be a hidden treasure waiting to be uncovered. And sometimes, under the right conditions, it can even carry a remarkable financial surprise. In fact, one of the most astonishing sale prices ever recorded for this coin was an incredible $29,477. In the vast world of American coinage, there are few treasures as surprising, humble, and mysterious as the United States of America 1945 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. It is a coin millions of Americans once carried casually in their pockets, tucked into lunch boxes, stacked in jars, dropped between car seats, and forgotten in dusty drawers. Yet today, this small copper piece has become a source of excitement for collectors and treasure hunters who dream of stumbling upon a life-changing discovery hiding inside a handful of old change. The year 1945 itself holds a strong place in American history. The world was finally seeing the end of World War II, and the United States Mint was running at full power, producing billions of coins to keep the recovering economy moving. People were traveling, buying goods, celebrating returning soldiers, and rebuilding their lives. Through all of this, the humble Lincoln wheat penny remained one of the most recognizable symbols of American currency. But while most pennies of the era are common, the 1945 no mint mark version hides a surprising story, one that turns an ordinary copper coin into something far more valuable than most people ever imagine. The no mint mark simply means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not place a mint mark on its cents at the time. In 1945, this mint produced an enormous number of pennies, yet the coin still attracts special attention. The reason is not because of how many were minted, but rather because of how few remain today in exceptional, untouched condition. The decades have not been kind to copper coins. They oxidize, discolor, and wear quickly in circulation. Pockets, wallets, coin rolls, counters, rainy days, and everyday handling wore them down until the details faded from Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks on the back grew smooth. This is what makes finding a sharp, crisp, high-grade 1945 no mint mark Lincoln wheat cent such a remarkable event. Most of the survivors that people discover in jars or collections tend to be heavily circulated, dark, worn, sometimes stained by age and conditions. But the rarest pieces, the ones that show Lincoln's profile with sharp lines, crisp lettering, and a clean copper surface, are the ones collectors chase. Even a minor upgrade in condition can dramatically increase the value of this coin. Imagine holding one in your hand. The reddish copper tone shines softly under the light. Lincoln's bow tie is clearly defined, his cheekbones still sharp, and the wheat ears on the reverse look as if they were pressed yesterday. The rim is full, the date is bold, and the words 1 cent appear strong and without weakness. That kind of preservation is rare for any coin that survived 80 years, but especially rare for a wartime penny handled by millions of Americans during one of the most intense periods in world history. Collectors also search for unique traits that sometimes appear in these coins. Some examples show slightly off-center strikes, doubling, unusual die wear, or variations created by the minting machinery of the 1940s. The technology used back then was far from the precise, digital equipment used today. Dies were engraved by hand, prepared manually, and experienced wear much more quickly. This means small variations in the coin design can exist within the same year, mint, and batch. Although these variations are generally subtle, serious collectors appreciate them, and certain unusual characteristics can give a particular penny additional value. There is also something almost nostalgic about the 1945 penny. You can almost imagine the world it passed through. Maybe it sat in the uniform pocket of a soldier who had just come home, or perhaps it was used to buy a newspaper announcing victory overseas. It could have traveled across small towns, busy cities, war factories, and railroads that helped shape American life during those transformative years. Every scratch, every darkened surface, every tiny mark tells the story of where the penny has been. And while many people might overlook an old cent, collectors know that even the most ordinary-looking piece could be a hidden gem. But what truly drives the excitement today is the possibility of discovering one of the rare high-grade survivors. People around the world search through rolls of pennies, inherited coin collections, or even old jars from grandparents' houses hoping to find one. And the thrill never fades. You never know when that next amazing coin will appear, tucked inside a dusty envelope, resting in an old wooden box, or shining unexpectedly at the bottom of a forgotten tin. The Philadelphia Mint in 1945 produced more than 1 billion Lincoln wheat cents, but the number of pristine, uncirculated examples that survived untouched is extremely small. Many were spent repeatedly, exposed to heat, moisture, dirt, or chemical reactions. Copper reacts to air, producing natural toning that can shift from brown to red-brown, or even deep chocolate colors. While some collectors enjoy naturally toned pieces, the ones with original red copper shine are considered elite. These are the coins that command the highest prices. What makes the 1945 no-mint mark penny especially attractive is that it is a coin almost anyone can search for. You do not need to buy expensive rolls, rely on rare dealers, or spend thousands of dollars to participate. Many people have found valuable wheat pennies simply by checking old change jars, estate collections, inherited albums, or yard sale boxes filled with miscellaneous coins. There is something satisfying about taking the time to look through these old pieces and discovering something rare, a feeling of excitement mixed with curiosity, like uncovering a little piece of American history. For many collectors, the hunt is just as enjoyable as the value. The moment your eyes catch a wheat reverse, your heart jumps just a little. You flip the coin over, hoping for an early date, a mint mark, or an unusually bright surface. When you see 1945 with no mint mark, you know you're holding a coin that has survived decades and may still hold the potential to change someone's fortune, if the condition is exceptional enough. The grading scale, which ranges from poor at the lowest level to mint state at the highest, determines most of the value. A lower grade circulated 1945 wheat penny is easy to find, often only worth a few cents. But the magic happens at the top of the scale. As the grade increases, the rarity increases exponentially. A small scratch, faint discoloration, or light wear can dramatically drop its value, which is why perfectly preserved pieces are so incredibly desirable. Collectors will pay large sums for those top-grade examples, understanding how few exist. Even though billions were minted, nearly all the high-quality examples were lost to time, wear, corrosion, mishandling, and environmental damage. So when a flawless, bright, lustrous example appears at auction, collectors take notice, fast. Coins with strong strike, original luster, and minimal marks can create bidding wars among numismatists who understand just how exceptional such a piece is. There is something magical about a coin that costs just a cent to produce yet can rise to a value most people never expect. It reminds us that not everything rare starts out expensive. Some treasures begin in the simplest, smallest forms, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye and a bit of luck to discover them. The 1945 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny has become one of those underappreciated coins that continues to surprise the collecting world. Whether you are an expert collector, a beginner, or someone who is simply curious about old American coins, this penny proves that history, rarity, and condition can turn even the smallest piece of copper into something extraordinary. So the next time you come across a wheat penny, take a moment to examine it. You never know what secrets it may hold or what value it might carry. And yes, the most stunning, highest grade example of this coin ever recorded reached an astonishing price of $32,874. The camera opens with soft dramatic music, the kind that instantly pulls viewers into a story that feels both mysterious and exciting. The screen shows a close-up of an old, dirty Lincoln Wheat penny slowly rotating under a spotlight, its faded copper surface shimmering like an artifact from another world. Then the narrator's voice enters, calm, confident, inviting listeners into a world where ordinary pocket change can suddenly become life-changing treasure. Imagine holding a small copper coin that millions of people walked past without ever noticing. A coin that slipped through grocery stores, parking meters, children's piggy banks, dusty drawers, and forgotten jars. A coin that traveled across the United States silently, never drawing attention to itself, yet hiding a value that could shock anyone who discovers it today. That coin is the 1950 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. And tonight, we take you deep into its story. How it was made, why it's rare, what mistakes to look for, and how this simple coin can turn into a collector's dream if you know what you're looking at. The year is 1950. America had just stepped confidently into a new decade, a time filled with optimism, booming industry, and expanding cities. Pennies were everywhere. People spent them without a second thought. But what makes the 1950 no-mint mark Wheat penny different is not only its age, but the fact that despite being produced in the millions, only a very small fraction survived in excellent condition. Most were heavily used, worn down, scratched, oxidized, or simply lost to time. And that's exactly what makes the few remaining high-grade examples so sought after today. The coin itself carries the classic wheat penny design. On the front, you see Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, designed by Victor David Brenner, a tribute that became one of the most iconic pieces of American coinage. On the back, two simple wheat stalks curve gently around the words 1 cent, symbolizing prosperity and hard work. But beneath this familiar appearance lies a history that collectors have spent decades studying. The 1950 no-mint mark penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark on its coins during that era. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 272 million of these pennies. At first glance, that number sounds huge, but survival is not the same thing as production. Millions were melted, damaged, thrown away, or used for decades until their features nearly disappeared. Today, the hunt for a sharp, clean, well-preserved 1950 Philadelphia wheat penny is far more difficult than new collectors expect. But that's not all. Some 1950 pennies display subtle variations, small errors that occurred during production. These little mistakes can instantly transform a common coin into a collectible worth examining closely. One of the most attractive error types is the die crack. This is when a tiny break or fracture appears on the die, causing raised lines on the coin itself. These lines can snake across Lincoln's face, extend through the fields, or stretch between the wheat stalks. To the untrained eye, these cracks look like scratches. But to collectors, they're signatures, each one unique, each one increasing the coin's desirability. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin isn't perfectly aligned during pressing. Some off-center errors show only a slight shift, while others reveal dramatic gaps where part of the design is missing. The more dramatic the shift, while still showing a readable date, the higher the value climbs. A less common but highly prized error is the clipped planchet. This happens when the metal sheet used to punch coin blanks overlaps incorrectly, cutting out a crescent-shaped bite along the edge. These clipped planchet errors rarely appear on 1950 pennies, making them exciting finds for collectors. And then there is the double die, the holy grail of many collectors. While dramatic doubled dies are famously associated with the 1955 penny, subtle doubling on certain 1950 coins does exist and is worth examining with a magnifier. Doubling can appear on letters, numbers, and parts of Lincoln's profile, giving the coin an unmistakable layered look. Most people who find a 1950 wheat penny never take a second glance. But the people who do take that second look often discover something surprising. It's not just about rarity. It's about condition. The world of coin grading is central to understanding why some pennies are nearly worthless while others can sell for extraordinary amounts of money. A heavily circulated 1950 penny, scratched and faded, might only be worth a few cents. But a crisp, untouched one, sharp details, strong luster, no corrosion, belongs to a completely different world. Collectors pay the highest prices for coins graded between mint state 65 and mint state 67, where the coin's original shine is still intact after more than 7 decades. The irony is that the Philadelphia Mint never intended these coins to last this long. They were created to be used, spent, passed along quickly. The few that survived in exceptional condition were saved accidentally, perhaps tucked into a drawer by a child, stored in a bank envelope by a curious parent, or forgotten in an attic for 50 years. Let's dig even deeper into the story of this remarkable penny. Many collectors believe that the 1950 no-mint mark penny is part of an important transition era in American coinage. The wheat reverse was nearing its final years. By 1959, the design would change to the Lincoln Memorial reverse. That means the 1950 coin sits right in the middle of the last decade of wheat penny production. This historical context alone adds value. Coins from transitional periods often become more desirable because they represent the end of an era. The copper itself tells another story. In 1950, pennies were still made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a mixture that gave the wheat pennies their rich reddish tone. Over time, this copper can darken, tone, or develop interesting color patterns. Collectors especially love red and red-brown examples. A bright red 1950 penny, untouched by oxidation, is incredibly difficult to find today. And because of this scarcity, these red examples bring in huge premiums. If you're searching for this coin today, don't underestimate where it might be hiding. Many people discover valuable wheat pennies not in coin shops, but in everyday places: old family jars, estate sales, inherited boxes, antique shops, flea markets, or even in spare change. The secret is knowing what to look for and taking the time to examine each detail carefully. Hold the coin under a bright light. Tilt it slowly. Look for shine on Lincoln's cheek and jawline. Check the wheat stalks for crisp lines. Inspect the fields for scratches. Look for toning, doubling, cracks, misalignments. Every small feature tells a story. And the better the story, the higher the potential value. Collectors love the 1950 penny not simply because it's old, but because it represents the thrill of possibility. It shows that even the smallest, most ordinary object can hold incredible worth. A single penny can represent history, survival, craftsmanship, and rarity all at once. And sometimes, that combination leads to a price that no one would ever expect from a coin that costs almost nothing to produce. And now, after exploring the legacy, the errors, the history, the design, and the hidden details that make this coin special, we finally arrive at the most exciting part of the journey, the number that shocks new collectors and excites seasoned ones. Because among the finest examples ever discovered, authenticated and graded at the highest levels, one of these 1950 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat pennies sold for an astonishing $34,477. The story of the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny is a fascinating journey into a coin that millions of Americans once carried casually in their pockets, never imagining that one day collectors around the world would be searching for its rarest varieties. In this video, we'll dive deep into the history, the minting process, the unique features behind this special penny, and the surprising discoveries that have made particular examples extremely valuable today. So sit back, relax, and let's take a detailed look at the hidden treasure known as the 1954 Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. Every coin has a past, but wheat pennies seem to carry something extra, something nostalgic, almost alive. These coins were part of everyday American life from 1909 all the way until 1958. Kids spent them on candy, families used them to buy newspapers, and soldiers carried them as pocket keepsakes during wartime. Wheat pennies aren't just old coins, they're pieces of history forged during some of the most transformative decades in the United States. The 1954 penny is part of that history. It was minted in Denver, one of the most active mint facilities of the era. In 1954, the country was settling into a new age of progress. Cars were getting sleeker, technology was advancing, and America's coinage was produced in massive quantities to support a growing consumer economy. Among that wave of coins was the 1954 wheat penny, struck from 95% copper and bearing the classic wheat reverse that collectors love. But what makes this particular coin stand out from the rest? After all, millions were minted. Most people assume that if a coin was produced in high numbers, it could never be valuable. But that assumption is often wrong, especially with coins like the 1954 penny. High mintage never guarantees high survival. Many of these pennies were lost, damaged, worn flat from circulation, or melted during copper recovery years later. Others were used until their details almost disappeared. The few surviving in excellent condition, especially those with crisp luster and fully visible design elements, are the ones collectors fight over today. To understand why the 1954 penny can command solid prices at auctions, we first need to look closely at its design features. On the front of the coin, Abraham Lincoln stands tall, one of the most iconic portrait designs in American history. His profile is sharp, showing fine lines in the hair and beard when the coin is well preserved. Just below him, the year 1954 is clearly visible. On the right side of the date sits the small letter D, representing the Denver Mint. This little mint mark, though tiny, plays a big role in the coin's identity and value. On the reverse side, you'll find the classic wheat ears stretching upward on both sides of the coin. These wheat stalks symbolize prosperity, growth, and the hard-working American spirit of the early 20th century. Between them sits the phrase 1 cent, and above it the familiar words United States of America. At the very top of the reverse is the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. It's a motto that fits well with a coin that circulated throughout every corner of the country. Collectors love this design because it represents an era. The wheat reverse is simple, elegant, and historically rich, far more memorable than many modern coins today. And because the wheat design ended in 1958, every surviving wheat penny holds a certain charm and rarity value simply because the series is now long discontinued. Now let's move into the core of what makes the 1954 wheat penny valuable today. When collectors judge pennies, they consider several key factors: condition, rarity, strike quality, minting errors, and eye appeal. A coin may be common in low grades, but extremely rare in high grades. That's exactly the case with the 1954 penny. Most surviving examples today are worn. They may have scratches, discoloration, nicks, or faded letters. But a tiny percentage survived with stunning shine and sharp details, often because they were stashed away soon after minting. These coins, especially those graded mint state by third-party grading companies, can sell for impressive amounts. A single upgrade in grade, for example, moving from MS64 to MS65, can easily multiply the value several times. Another reason the 1954 penny is exciting is because the Denver Mint in the mid-1950s sometimes struggled with die wear and misaligned strikes. This led to a number of subtle errors and varieties, which collectors love to hunt for. Some examples show repunched mint marks, where the D was stamped more than once, creating a shadow effect. Others show slight doubling on letters or numbers, known as die deterioration doubling. While not all of these errors bring large premiums, some varieties have sold for notably high prices when found in excellent condition. Another interesting point about the 1954 D penny is its copper composition. These coins were minted during a time when copper was still relatively cheap and widely available. Today, as copper becomes more valuable, old copper pennies gain additional interest because their metal content alone is worth more than modern zinc coins. While melting pennies is illegal in the United States, collectors still appreciate the higher quality and durability of copper coins from this era. Now imagine stumbling across one of these pennies in an old jar, a family coin box, or a forgotten drawer. Many people across America still find wheat pennies in circulation today. But finding a high-grade 1954 D penny is a whole different story. If you're lucky enough to find one with full luster, no scratches, strong wheat lines, and a bold mint mark, you may be holding a valuable collector's item. Condition is everything. A circulated 1954 D penny might only be worth a small premium. But a mint condition example, a bright, untouched penny that looks almost brand new, can attract serious attention. Some of these coins have crossed auction blocks with surprising results, catching collectors off guard and generating real bidding excitement. What gives these coins their charm is not only their age or condition but also the sense of adventure that comes with coin hunting. People around the world still search for wheat pennies in rolls, yard sales, and flea markets, hoping to uncover a hidden treasure. The 1954 D penny is a perfect reminder that even common coins can become valuable when preserved with care and discovered in exceptional quality. Imagine a collector examining a coin under bright light, rotating it slowly to inspect every letter and wheat line. Every tiny detail matters. The more perfect the coin, the higher its value. Some collectors prefer deep red coins that still show their original copper shine, while others love rich brown tones that develop naturally over decades. Appeal plays a huge role in determining a penny's desirability. As we wrap up this story, it's important to remember one thing: value does not come from age alone. It comes from history, condition, rarity, mistakes made at the mint, and the passionate collectors who desire these coins today. The 1954 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a fantastic example of how everyday objects can transform into valuable collectibles over time, especially when preserved in brilliant condition. And now, here is the part you've been waiting for. Among the most pristine examples of the 1954 D Lincoln Wheat Penny ever discovered, there's one recorded value that reached an impressive final price of $27,777.